Periscope's online. I have got Facebook's online. Come on. Come on, YouTube. And YouTube's online. All right, we are online. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're going to start in about a few minutes. Just getting all the ancillary stuff taken care of. Make sure everything goes live. YouTube is... Oh, there you go. YouTube starting to jump. Jan, hello. There we go. GSM times 2. Hello, who's here already? See Cody Dog on Periscope. What's up, Cody Dog?
Borg.
Pork chop sandwiches. What's that about?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. Tonight, guys, we have got NPGlenn. We have got Breeze talking about getting, what is it? 48 states in 6 days. They did a monumental trip here. We're going to hear. Actually, I'm going to save it for the show. I'm not going to give anything away for free here. I'll wait. I have a question for you.
Yeah, that actually stands for Virginia Breeze.
Oh, is it Virginia Breeze? What did I put?
Yeah,
The VA is
the
the
VA is
Virginia.
Virginia Breeze.
So is it Virginia Breeze or is it above Breeze?
Virginia Breeze.
There you go. Ryan Semmel was watching Lookout Lisa on Facebook. Yeah, I saw they were going live.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like,
They were going live.
okay. Can't watch that.
I gotta do my own show. All right, guys. Here we go. So, grab him. Jess, you all set?
Yep.
You called in? You good to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right. Hey, anybody got a question for NPGlenn or Virginia Breeze here about the 48 states in 6 days? You give us a call, 808-468-7924, 808-GOT-SWAG. Because I got a ton of questions for him. Somebody must have questions for him. So, Chad, monitor the chat room, will you? In case people have
Okay.
questions for them. Because they might come in. Okay. I'm ready. I think everything is looking good here. So, I'm going to start the show. Everybody ready to go?
Yep.
You ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to start the show. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, in 3. Oh, wait, hold on. If I turn this on, it helps a lot. That's how we record it. That helps. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
You wanna know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. Come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache. And if you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday. It is 8:30, which means that it is once again time for the Geocaching Podcast. My name is Scott Burks. We've got Shorty Knits manning the phones, and please welcome to my virtual left, my bionic co-host, Jazz427.
Howdy, y'all. Are you ready to go on a road trip?
On a road trip, that's right, because tonight's episode is 587, recorded live on October 30th, 2019, and it is geocaching 48 states in 7 days. Phone lines are open. Give us a call, 808-468-7924. That is 808-GOT-SWAG. But, Chad, before we start the show, we need to do a little something here. We need to talk about Patreon.
Oh yeah.
First of all, how's your knee doing? Let's start with
Oh, it's doing okay, as good as I can expect it to be after.
we missed you last
what's-
week.
Yeah, it's been 9 days now, so
9 days.
9 days since the surgery, so getting around pretty good.
Okay, good. We missed you. We had Corey on the show, but he wasn't Chaz.
Yeah, well, I haven't even gone back and watched the show yet, so
You didn't really-
I was out back.
Is that what it is? You couldn't do it? You couldn't bear to witness?
No, it's like I wanted to call in. I was just in so much pain because the nerve block had ended sometime Tuesday evening, and so that was like the most pain that I was in, and
Right.
I was like, I can't do this. But I need to go back and listen to the show. Even the shows that I missed, I need to go and
Sure.
listen to them and see what happened.
All right. Well, Patreon, Chad. It costs a lot of money to make this show work, guys.
Oh yeah.
We really appreciate all the help that everybody gives us. NPGlenn, he's a patron. Are you not there, Glenn?
Yes, I am.
Yes, he is. Thank you so much, sir, for being a patron of the show. We thank all the patrons we have. We welcome our new patron, Chad El Rojo 14. Today became a patron out of
Awesome.
Taft, California, Chad.
Yeah, that's down by Bakersfield area. I think.
You ever been to Taft? You ever been to Taft, California, Chad?
I've been within a couple miles of it. I know, but I don't know if I actually went into the town.
Fair enough. All right. So, hey, El Rojo 14, thank you so much for becoming a patron. Welcome to the other side. He's one of the people. He knuckled up to the bar and said, "Hey, barkeep, I want to throw these guys some loot and share in the wealth of the video and audio, extra video, extra audio on the other side." So thank you so much to you, sir. And anybody else want to join the other side, join the inner circle? It's patreon.com, patreon.com/the Geocaching Podcast. Go ahead, Chad, whenever you're ready.
Oh,
1 week.
I forget my cues. So tonight's show
I gotta get a cue. I have to get a cue for that. I'll get a cue.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Cachly. Cachly is an advanced geocaching app for iOS that features powerful online and offline features, including filtered searches, offline maps, and offline saving of caches. Cachly has hundreds of advanced features that will make your geocaching experience just that much better. Get more info at cachly.com. That's CACHLY.com.
And it's also sponsored by Logwork. Logwork are the creators of the fantastic logbook made with genuine Write in the Rain paper. The logbook designed for the micro containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who would rather go caching than do cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com, LOGWERK.com.
It's also brought to you by FTF Geocacher Magazine. FTF Geocacher is the magazine for geocachers written by geocachers. With 6 issues a year, FTF offers practical advice, hints and tips, cacher bios and milestones, geocaching events, trail tales, and all things geo-related. Find them at ftfgeocacher.com.
And, I lost my tongue. There we go. And by the Max Suds Body Company. Max Suds Body Company makes handmade bath and body products from all natural oils and butters. Items such as Poison Begone soap, itch spray, and 2-cent choices of bug spray. All great for the outdoor enthusiasts like geocachers. At Max Suds Body, we have you covered from head to toe. Find them at maxsudsbody.com, MACSUDSBODY.com.
And by Practical Geocaching. Practical Geocaching sells utility items for geocaching. Our items are made in the USA, and we always provide free shipping. Find them at practicalgeocaching.com. That's PRACTICAL geocaching.com.
And finally, by pathtags.com. For all your swag and path tag needs, visit our website to get creative help to trade or log tags or to purchase your own personalized path tag. With over 39,000 tags to collect, pathtags.com is everything you need to start your path tag obsession. Visit them at pathtags.com, pathtags.com. And you can find links to all our sponsors on our website or in our show notes. Jed, did you know that right now, Jesse just set all this up, from now through November 1st, all merch in our shop is 10% off?
Ooh,
Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
It's all 10% off the merch in our shop. All the shirts, all the mugs, everything 10% off. Hey, if you're a patron member, you get it for cost. You get it for nothing. It's base price. We make no money on it. We're just giving it away. So if you want to take advantage of that, you go ahead and take advantage of it. Now through November 1st, all merch 10% off in our store. Go ahead, enjoy it. Anything else? We got nothing else to talk about, I don't think. I think that's it. I think we're moving right along to the show here. Because not much going on in there. Well, there is, but we've got Cash or Coffee next week. So we have got Virginia Breeze. Hello, Carrie. Virginia Breeze.
Hi,
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
And we've got NPGlenn. Glenn, how are you, sir? Glenn, hello. Can you hear me? There he is. Glenn, can you hear me?
I can now. I
there
don't
you
see
go.
you, but I hear you.
You don't see me?
Everybody disappeared, and now everybody's back except you.
All right, fair enough. Anybody else hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with why don't you tell the audience what you guys did in a nutshell, what it was and what you guys did.
Okay, This is NPGlenn talking. What we did was attempted to cache in all 48 states and DC in 1 week. That was the challenge that we made for ourselves.
Okay.
And we did it.
So who was in the car with you? And I know Carrie was Virginia Breeze. Who else was in the car with you?
It was Carrie, and then Andy W 3901, and Kat is Kat plus 6 kids. I think is her handle.
Yeah, 6 kids and cat.
Yeah, it was the 4 of us, 2 guys, 2 gals.
2 guys and 2 girls.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming you all are friends. You all live around the same area and are friends together.
And we still are, believe it or not.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. So you were friends before this. Really quickly, anybody in the chat rooms have any questions for them? Feel free to give us a call, 808-468-7924. You have a question for these two about this monumentous trip that they took. When did you guys, Carrie, when did you take this trip?
In June 2016.
June 2016. Mid-June, early June, not that it matters.
The 4th is when we went out. I think we started our caching episode on the 5th.
Is there a reason why you chose June? Did you try and hey, the weather will be better? We want to.
I think Glenn was the planner, so I think Glenn had that in his mind. We want to make sure the weather is good for us and we not have to run into snow and that type of thing.
Okay, so Glenn, is that exactly why you chose June?
That and also the longer days, so we wouldn't have to do so much driving and caching at night. We wanted the night caches to be a minimum.
Sure, absolutely, smart idea. Yes. And so has this ever been done before? Do you know? Has anybody ever attempted or done this before? You guys have done this?
Not that I'm aware of. It all started out a couple of years before this. There was 3 of us, 2 of my other friends here in Virginia. We wanted to see how many states we could do in one day. So we started in Maine, and we did 17 states plus DC in one day. So that's how
I'm assuming
got to me.
That's the East Coast, right? I mean, you're hitting all the New England and all that, right?
Yeah, you have to use New England. That's the only way you can get so many states at one time. But it was still. We started at midnight in Maine, and we ended up 20 minutes to spare in St. Louis. Then we got 17 states plus DC in that one day, 24-hour period.
So during this trip, what was the most number of states you got in a day?
Was it 17?
I couldn't hear your question.
So I was asking during this trip, what was the most that you got in a day? So was this 17 that you did that you were talking about before some other trip, or was this?
It
was because of that trip that we did the other one. When we finished that trip, we said, what's the next chapter? And so I said, well, it wasn't feasible to do all 48 states in a week. I'd been to 48 states, all of them several times, but I wanted to see if I could cache them. And we didn't. We did our first 24 hours. We did 16 states and DC. Because the hardest part is when you start in Maine and you want to go to Vermont. You're right next to New Hampshire, then it's kind of out of the way to go to Vermont. So that's why we did not do Vermont when we did 17. And did 16 plus DC in the first 24 hours.
Of this trip, correct? Of this trip?
Yes. So
you picked Vermont up on the last day, I assume?
Well, it's funny because during the planning, I tried to plan it. Well, I planned it several different ways, but the shortest way or the quick, we would have ended up in Oregon or Washington State, and would have been maybe a half a day or a few hours quicker than we did. But then we're 3,000 miles from home, so I didn't want to do it that way. And then some people say, well, why didn't you start at home in Virginia? Well, if I started in Virginia, the best I could work it out was it would come up to another 300 to 400 miles difference added on to the trip. So didn't want to do it that way. So what we ended up doing was, planning it out started in Maine, came down the East Coast, wiggled around to the West Coast, then back across and finished up Chicago we came through Chicago, hit Indiana, and then Michigan was our last state. And we had set up a Michigan or Bust event in
Nice.
last one, just, meet the locals and, get some good food, things like that.
Wow. And so you say, well, let's get back real quick. So you did this 17 in a day, and then who came up with the idea? We can do this in a week.
Well, I worked on it myself just to see if it was possible.
So you thought to yourself, I could do this. I think I could do this. If you did 17 in a day, I think I could do this.
Right.
Because I've talked about it for 10 years, but I gave myself 2 weeks. I didn't give myself a week. I think a week was insane. Right. So I thought, like maybe 2 weeks, getting a bunch of friends, getting a bus or something like that, and going and doing it in 2 weeks.
Well, the hardest part is finding those friends when you're ready to do it.
Oh, absolutely. You all got to be retired.
When I planned it and talked it up, everybody said, "No, you're crazy. I don't want to do that." Of course, when we finished it, so many of them said, "Oh, I wish I had gone with you." Yeah.
Wow.
But so it was. I had looked at some of these people. They try to see how quick they can hit all 48 states driving, and they'll do it. I think the record is a little over 3 days, 3.5 days. But they weren't geocaching, and we wanted to cache in each state, so it would take a little bit more time. 40. I allocated 15 minutes per find. So times that 48, that's 12 hours right there. Mm-hmm. So right. And then we had, we allocated, every 350, 400 miles, a 20-minute break, to get something to eat, get fuel for the car, go to the restroom, whatever we needed to do,
And so I know Jesse's dying to ask this. What did you use to figure out how to do this? What program did you use?
Well, first thing I did was I just got out a paper map of the United States and started looking at it.
Really? And see if you could figure it out. Wow.
So, I got this paper map and just started looking at different directions and seeing if it looked like, it was possible to do it. And Microsoft used to have a mapping program called Street and Trips, which I used quite a bit. You could probably do the same thing on Google Maps now, but at the time it was Street and Trips. And then I used Google Earth, and I would just start planning these trips, and, it would come out, maybe 8 or 9 days. And I kept moving it down, started making the stops a little bit, to try to kill the time. And eventually I got it down to in a week, which was I was looking at, because of the planning, you got to have some kind of number. So my planning came out to 6 days, 8 hours, and 4 minutes. That's what the plan was.
And what did you do it in, for the record?
6 days, 8 hours, and 1 minute.
Wow. not even 7 days, less than 7 days. Some questions in the chat room here. How many hours did you geocache each day?
Well, what we did was we could have done it quicker than we did, but I didn't want us to start hating each other. So we drove for 48 straight hours, and then we took an 8-hour break in a motel so we could sleep in a real bed, take a shower,
sure.
Get something good to eat. And then 48 more hours, and then another 8-hour break. And first 8-hour break was in Arkansas, Fort Smith, Arkansas, I think it was. And then the second 8-hour break was in Oregon. And then after that break, we finished the rest of the trip. So we had 2 8-hour breaks built in. So, it worked out pretty good.
Carrie, what was the hardest part of it?
One of the things that I worried about was sleeping, because I'm terrible about if I'm in a car and somebody's driving and I want to make sure they're awake. Mm-hmm. I was afraid I was going to stay up the whole trip and not sleep. Sure. I think I did go back, and we had a bed, in the vehicle. And I think I did die in California. But each of us we were all awake anytime we stopped for the cache. Everybody was out the car
Right.
for each cache.
How many caches did you find in each state?
We found at least one. I think I looked at it today. We found about 60 some caches altogether.
Yeah.
Because
We were
anytime
Go ahead.
anytime we stopped to go to the restroom, we would look. Is there a cache nearby?
Yeah, of course. You have to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then, we had planned on, one for each state. That was our goal. But if we passed by, like in Missouri, I think it was, we were coming close by to their oldest cache. So we had to stop for that. We had to, I had already been to Mingo, but the other three had not been to Mingo. So I changed my routing so we could go through Mingo and everybody could have, the oldest active cache. And occasionally, like I said, we'd stop and we would just say, oh, there's a neat cache nearby. Let's go ahead and get it.
Sure.
So we knew we had the 2 8-hour breaks and it was 6 hours, 6 days, 8 hours. So we had, 16 hours to play with there, and we could always cut the break short if we needed to.
Oh, absolutely.
So, what were you guys driving, and was it a
Rental
one of
or
yours
personal?
rental or personal? Yeah.
Hopefully it was a rental. I'm hoping a rental car.
Actually, no, it was my van.
Oh, Glenn. What are you
I
doing?
Well, I get those vans. It's my third. I'm on my third van now, but I still have that van. But my new van, I've had it a year and a half now, and I got over 40,000 miles on it. So
Wow.
so I like to get out and travel. But no, it was my van. We had it. It's a. Go ahead. You're breaking up, but
I said, for the record, Glenn is a van guy. You're one of those van guys. You're a van guy.
Well, I have two girls, and we got our first van after they were grown and gone. So
is it like a big bed? So it's enough you could put like a bed in the back, kind of thing. I mean, does it have like how many is it seat? Does it seat comfortably? Does it?
It's a 2, 4, 7. It's a 7-passenger van. But what we did was, behind the driver, we had it the third row folded down. So we had a 2-inch foam rubber pad behind the driver with a sleeping bag on top of that, and that was our bed. And everybody used it, and they was glad it was there. And then we had the 2 other seats to use. So we had a driver, a navigator, somebody sleeping, and somebody resting. But there was a seat for everybody if you didn't feel like sleeping. So, but it worked out real good. Put enough miles on it that on our second break in Oregon, I went and got the oil changed and washed the car.
Are you kidding?
No.
What was your total mileage?
I think it was, I can't remember, 6,725, something like that.
Wow.
6,000 in a week. Wow.
Yeah.
And so they're asking in the chat room, Jess sometimes too wants to know, what day did you get to Vermont? Do you remember which day you got to Vermont?
Say it again.
What day did you get to Vermont?
What day?
Yes.
I mean, day of the week? We started Sunday morning, I believe. So it would have been a Sunday.
Oh, so you did go. You got Vermont that first day.
Yeah, we did. We did not get it on the trip where we did 17 states in one day because it would just kind of made it too hard. But on this trip, yes, we did get it. We on this trip we got it, so we didn't have to backtrack for any of the states.
Okay.
But we kind of planned the trip. We planned the time of day we left to get through New York City or around New York. At the reasonable time of day, Sunday morning when traffic wouldn't be too bad. But no, it was bumper to bumper. I don't care what time of day you went by there. So that was our biggest traffic problem, was getting around New York. But
New York, really? Not California. Oh,
yeah.
You're not, I'm assuming you weren't in deep.
Well, it probably doesn't have to hit. You can easily get around traffic in California if your only goal is to hit a cache in California.
Yeah,
you
don't hit a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, our cache in California was up past Reno, Nevada, when we cut the corner up there in California. Yeah. And then with a lot of states, we just cut the corners, and that's what we were trying to do. It's like Texarkana, you can go around and make the Beltway around Arkansas and Oklahoma. You get all those states pretty quick, So we were just looking, the best thing is get the cache in the state as soon as you enter the state, so you're not worrying about are you going to get one or not before you get to the next state. So, and if you're on the interstate, a lot of most states have a visitor center, a welcome center right as you enter, and some of them have caches in them.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Unless you're in Virginia, or you can't rest stops. But so some of them you could jump at, pull off the interstate, grab the cache, back in the car, and in 5 minutes, so you save time.
So you said you came over from Reno. So did you go over towards Truckee, or were you heading further north up to get through to peek into California? Just out of curiosity.
You don't have a map on your computer, do you, Glenn?
We were right on the edge there. Let me pull up. I don't have my map with me, but yeah, it was right on the corner after we passed Reno, and then we just headed north up to Oregon, up some highway, some narrow highway. Wasn't much traffic on it.
Some narrow highway. Okay, so you probably went up to 395 or something. Okay.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. And then,
go ahead.
like I said, we go ahead. I was saying that on our second stop in Oregon, then we left Oregon at, I think it was 11 o'clock at night. And then we hit Washington State, Idaho real quick. And then we got Montana, right as we entered Montana. And then Kat decided, she was tired and go to bed. So she went to bed, and she woke up 3 or 4 hours later and said, "Where are we?" We said, "We're in Montana."
Montana.
So she went back to sleep, and a couple hours later she woke up and said, "Where are we now?" And we said, "Montana."
Montana. It's
so
a long
drive.
state.
Yeah, it's about an 8-hour drive across Montana.
We got a question in the chat room. Did you get any of the tri-state caches?
What are the
Which tri-states?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's ask the question.
I'm not sure. We didn't get any particular caches. In my article, I said, we weren't primarily lure. They were fine if we could find them, but we were just looking for the first easy cache we found when we entered the state. We weren't looking for caches where we had to hike 1.5 miles into the woods. We weren't looking for 5 that was going to take us a half hour, an hour to find. We wanted something we could stop, find the cache, sign the log, back in the car and on the road in 15 minutes. So I forgot to look up, but we were, they weren't all 1-1 caches, and they weren't any 5 caches. So, but that was our primary plan, just get the cache and go. So one of the things I told the folks, when I was planning this, and when I got my volunteers to go with me, because some of them had never been, out west or been to all the 48 states. And I told them, I said, this is not a leisure trip. We're not sightseeing. You'll see some pretty things, and just give you an incentive to come back and see them again. But we passed a lot of nice stuff, but we kept on going.
Right.
I got a question. Carrie.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question about Glenn. Is Glenn a meticulous guy? And what I mean by that is, if you go, okay, Carrie, you're driving from 12 to 6, and then from 6 to 12, and then I can't remember the other guy's time. He's driving from 12 to 6. Did he have it all planned out? Is he that type of guy, or is he just like, I don't care who drives, let's just go?
He had it all planned out, but as far as saying, okay, you're going to drive this many hours, you're going to drive that many hours, I think what we did, we had 2 drivers that were a little faster than others. So if we were lagging behind, they got behind the wheel. But if we were, okay, we're going to do this, slowly or at legal speed limit, we'll get these other 2 drivers. I think I probably drove the least because I was playing navigator most of the time.
Okay. We got a call here. We got a call in from Cody Dog. Hello, Cody. Hello, sir.
Board. Hello.
Hello, Cody. Aaron, how come we're not doing this? What's up with that?
Because
Don't think I'm not making plans.
Why, Aaron? Why aren't we doing it?
because you have children and they ruined my plan.
Okay, Aaron, you have a question for these wonderful people? Aaron, is this amazing? Tell me how much fun we'd have doing this. Come on.
Oh, we would have a blast. I totally would do this trip. Absolutely.
All right, you have a question for them?
So the question is, did you ever come across a cache in a state that you had to go to a second cache because someone had the first one?
Well, I'll explain to you how we planned that. Well, back up to what the Carrie said. The planning I did was at speed limit, so I didn't plan it on going 80 miles an hour when we were out west. You know, whatever the speed limit was, that's what it was planned on. But as far as the caches, we had a primary cache in there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're like, oh, someone already had it. So like you were saying that some caches were at when you entered a state and it was a state visiting area. So
right.
Did anyone ever have one of those?
You didn't have did you ever have it come into an issue where it's like you went to the cache and Carrie's like, I have this cache already. I already have it.
No, we
Can
did that ahead of time.
Glenn, can I answer that question?
Yes.
You asked about how well he planned. Glenn had a Bible, in my opinion, of every cache that we were going to try to hit. He had already scoped it out. He had already taken like pictures of the view, the satellite view. And he had a backup cache in case that cache wasn't found. And I kid you not, this was a binder that was like 3.5 inches thick with all this information.
So Glenn killed a tree.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have Shorty, right?
Yeah, that's
why we would have Shorty.
Jesse is
That's
the
me.
exact same way.
Right.
Jesse's the exact.
That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing, except for I'd have a little electronic document, and then I would send it to Kay or one of the other girls, and they would print it out.
Well, it wasn't as much information printed out as it was photographs. Because what I did was, I went to Google Earth, did a screenshot of looking down on it. If there was a street view of it, I took a picture of that. If somebody previously had posted a picture of it when they found it, I used that picture, and so it was basically a binder. So we studied that, and by the time we got to the cache, we could pull a car and we'd run and get it. Occasionally
Right.
we had to look around a little bit, and I had the primary cache and I had 5 backups for each state in case, and we did have DNFs.
Really?
We had a DNF in New Jersey right after we got it through New York. We had a DNF in New Jersey, but we were in a park and there was several in the park close by, so we got that. Of course, in Virginia, our home state, we had a DNF. So we had to go to our secondary. I don't think we ever had to go past our first secondary cache. We had and I kept checking for logged DNFs, archive caches and things like that as I was planning it. As the trip got closer and closer, I would really check for DNFs and archives, and then of course along the trip we would check it before we got there and say, hey, nobody's DNF'd it lately.
Right.
So we did that, and it worked out real good for us.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Cody.
I have a secondary
all
question.
right, go ahead.
Actually.
Go ahead. Ask away.
Did you, now that the event, your trip is over, do you have any regrets of passing up something? Like hindsight, you went, oh shoot, we were 5 miles away from this, then you didn't see it. Do you have any of those regrets?
Not so much regrets as, maybe that's the next time we do that. I'm always looking for a challenge, so Carrie and I and Andy and the rest of us, we get together and say, what can we do next? It's not like this trip. We weren't trying to set a record. We were just trying to do something. I don't know if anybody had ever done it before that or since then, but we can say we did it. That's what's the idea.
You set the time to beat is all you did. That's what.
There you go. There you go. And if somebody wants to go out and beat it, that's fine with me. I can say I did it.
No, absolutely. All right, Cody. Thank you so much, sir.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So
Okay. Did you see anything strange, interesting, weird, cool on your trip? Unexpected.
yeah. And what's the coolest thing you saw, or the weirdest thing you saw?
The weirdest thing I think I saw, which really, I'm an animal lover, and I guess we were in Nevada. Jackrabbits will run out into the road and stand up, and there's nothing you can do but hit them. And Andy was driving at the time, and he kept trying to swerve to miss them. And I said, you know what? I love rabbits, but just hit them, because we're going to be on the roadside somewhere turned upside downwards. Yeah. And I've never seen that happen before, because, I'm sure they were jackrabbits.
Yeah, suicide bunnies.
Yes, yes. And it was horrible. But after a while, you kind of got used to the thump.
For the record, Glenn has been talking about the article he keeps referring back to. That's the article he wrote in FTF Geocaching magazine, sponsor of the show. Volume 7, issue 4 is the magazine, the FTF volume or issue that you're looking for if you want to see the story the story you wrote. Correct? Did you write it? I'm assuming. Correct?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Though I got some more questions here in the chat room. Where is it? Hold on.
I'll put one up here.
Thank you so much.
Did anything slow you down in any bad weather or tornadoes, forest fires, whatever?
Well, the first thing that slowed us down, we were pretty much on schedule, all the way to Iowa. We had a DNF, not a DNF, but our primary cache in Iowa, and we just came through the corner of Iowa, so there's only a few of them there that we had to pick from. But the first one had been flooded out, several months ago, and then as the summer went on, I said, well, it's got to be dried up by now, but it wasn't. You could not get out to the area where the cache was, so we had to go backtrack a little bit to get that cache, and then that's where we say Kat took one for the team, because she was in mud up to her knees trying to get this cache it's under a bridge, and it was a bison tube. I call it a bison tube. It was probably 6 feet long and a foot around. It was one of the biggest bison tube I'd ever seen. So, but that slowed us down a little bit. But then from there, we were going to Mingo, and there was road closures, so we had to go probably 30 to 45 minutes out of our way to get back. We had to go past it and then come back to it. Right. That cut us a little bit short. And then I think it was where they were doing road maintenance, because we were out there, and it was the middle of the night and I think Mingo was 3 o'clock in the morning. But when we in Colorado, I think it was, they were doing tunnel maintenance on one of the highways. So there was only one lane going through at a time. And of course, when we got there, it wasn't our lane, so we had to wait for all the traffic to come. And, that probably cut us back 20 minutes, half hour, just waiting for our turn to go through. But most of the time, didn't hit any bad weather. We hit some rain in West Virginia. It was raining pretty hard, but it stopped, before we got to our cache. But we pretty much had to wait out to the cache. But overall, it was good weather and no big delays. We did cut our 8-hour trip. 8-hour layover in Oregon. We cut that short 2 hours, so we only had a window there. Trying to make up some video time. What's that?
Well, that was a very smart idea to work that in, to work an 8-hour. Otherwise, it was every 48 hours you worked in an 8-hour.
Correct.
Break
every 48 hours we had an 8-hour break, and like I said, we weren't any record that we were trying to break, so we just trying to do it without killing each other, and we'd be right on time. Then we'd be an hour behind. Then we'd be an hour ahead. So by the time we got to Oregon, we were a couple hours behind. So we decided just to cut the break short, get back on the road. And by the time we got to, I had a guy in Michigan who was kind of, setting up the event or helping me with the event. And I kept contacting him as where we were. And we pushed the event back an hour just in case we got further behind, but we ended up being almost right on time.
Carrie, at what point did you go, what the hell am I doing?
Never.
How many days into this trip did it take you?
You know, I was so excited, and we were all excited. We all had, you know, that one goal in mind, and I never thought this is craziness. Now, if somebody asked me, would I want to do this again? I go, heck no. Been there, done that. But you know, and
I haven't told you about our next trip, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we didn't have arguments. I mean, everything was so smooth. I was just totally surprised because I know for myself, when I get tired, I get cranky.
Yeah, you're hangry, you're hungry, and you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
So,
What about any LEO encounters? Did you get pulled over or cops?
our very first cache was in Maine, and we were standing there looking for the cache, which was at, I think, one of the signs, "Welcome to Maine," and a cop pulled over, and he thought we wanted to have our picture taken in front of the sign, which, you know, we did. He had no idea we were looking for a cache.
That's fun.
So he actually pulled over to take the picture for us.
Wow. And so
Yeah.
6,000 miles driven, nobody got pulled over ever?
No.
Wow.
No.
No.
Yeah, were you speeding at all? We going over?
Yeah. Remember I said we had two of them that like to drive a little fast.
Lead footers.
And here in the chat room, what was the hardest time of day? Dusk, night, dawn? Hardest time.
Yeah. It probably about 3-4 o'clock in the morning was probably tough.
Yeah. Glenn, what about you?
I didn't really get tired until the last leg. We're coming around Chicago. Yeah, we had planned on, you know, going I guess you call it the loop inside where we could see the lake, you know, see the towers and stuff like that. But there were so many accidents that morning. The road was just backed up all over the place. So we ended up going around the outer beltway, and it made it through there. But you know, it was in the mid morning, I guess it was. And I was starting to feel the trip about then. But you know, I knew we only had 2 states to go and we'd be done. You know, so we toughed it out. You know,
that's still a long drive from Illinois to Michigan. I know, like for you guys, it's probably nothing considering what you've been through, but that's a long drive still.
Yeah, we came right around Chicago. You know, hit the tip of Indiana, and then trying to think what the name of the town was in Michigan where we finished up. I'll think of it in a minute. But no, it was New Buffalo. That's where we finished.
Oh, sure, okay.
And we had, like I said, we had our event set up. That was one of the caches. Our last cache that we had planned was had a couple DNFs on it before we got there. And the cache, I contacted the cache owner. He was good enough to get back to us pretty quick, and said the ones that didn't find it were newbies, basically, and weren't sure how to find it. And we rolled up, and of course it was at a marina, and private drive here, private drive there. But as you guys know, that means except for geocachers. So we drove right up beside the bush where it was in, and found it in no time. And that's when I checked my watch, and we were like 6 days, 8 hours, and 1 minute.
Wow.
So it worked out pretty good.
That's pretty amazing. I mean,
what did you guys do for food? Did you like pack, meals, or did you eat out every single meal, or how did you?
Did you have snacks in the car?
We had snacks. I had brought loaves of bread, ham, cheese, mayo. I mean, we had chips. We had all kinds of stuff to nibble on, and we ran through some drive-throughs as well.
Yeah.
We had cases of water.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cases of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sit down and eat when you get home.
Right.
I always pack sandwiches on road trips, and then we end up just getting so tired of that. So can't imagine after a week of sandwiches.
I know, Jess. We always work in like 2-day shifts. Imagine like 5 or 7 days, 6 days of that.
Oh,
we do it in like 2 days, and we're like done. Like I could.
You're done.
I'm done. Yeah.
Well, when we stop to get gas, you can run and go to the bathroom, and if you saw, a different snack other than a cheese sandwich or something that you wanted, then you could do that, or a hot hamburger or something at McDonald's.
So for all four of you, I know people are going to ask this question, and I'm curious as well. Roughly, cost involved in this trip. What did each person? I mean, I don't know how you did it, where like everybody threw in a kitty and it was a big pot and. Like,
can you repeat the question, because you cut out on mine?
What was the cost involved on this trip?
Well, it ended up we split the gas and we split the motel, and that was it. It cost us about $400 a piece. I think it's what it was for the rooms and the gas. And that the van, big old van load up, it was getting in the high 20s, close to 30 miles per gallon. So it wasn't eating gas. So, but it wasn't that expensive.
If you're gonna rent a car, you're adding an extra Jess? How much? Extra $400 or $500 to that?
Yeah, it's like $500 for a week.
And no mileage.
Vans are expensive to rent.
Oh, we've done it.
We got a van for a week. $224 is what I paid for the van.
And that's great.
Going catching.
Oh wow!
Of course, I started it at a good price at about $350, and then it's like every time a price would drop, I'd get a call from Linda. It's like, hey, can you change? Can you go in and change it out because we got another price drop on another price drop? Like, but hey, saved us some money.
No,
that's what it's all about.
Because we got
with the rental though, I mean, I don't know whether they would be concerned with you bringing it back with 7,000 miles on it in a week.
Unlimited miles is unlimited miles.
Unlimited. Right. Me and Jesse rented a Jeep with 40 miles on it. We brought it back with like 2,400 miles.
Oh gosh.
Hey,
in 4 days.
4 days. 3 days.
Yeah.
Hey man.
I know when we got to our final stop in Michigan, there's a white van that I had, and the front of it was black from bugs on it.
Sure.
We killed a lot of bugs, a lot of night driving. So I mean, it was loaded up. But
did you plan out?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I would say the other thing that we did was we all had, of course, we all had our phones. We all had GPSs with all the primaries and secondaries loaded in it. I had them all loaded in the car GPS, because I was looking at a lot of these places where I knew we probably wouldn't have cell phone coverage. So, we had backup after backup after backup. We had pictures, GPSs, cell phones, the whole work. So we did not lack for any of that information when we got to a cache. We weren't guessing where it was.
And were there stretches where nobody had cell signal?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What was the longest stretch in between caches?
Well, probably Montana. We got the cache right as we exited Idaho into Montana. We got that cache, and the next one we dipped down into Wisconsin, I believe it was, to get was Wisconsin? No, just South Dakota. Wyoming. There you go. Because originally I had planned on going through Wyoming a different way, but then when I changed it to go through Mingo, then that cut out Wyoming. So yeah, we went through Montana, dipped down into Wyoming, and then back up through into North Dakota, then back down through South Dakota. So that was the longest stretch right there.
Really, that's your longest stretch without a cache, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty long. Because when we stopped in Texas, we was Texarkana, and the fellow at the gas station said, "Are you driving across Texas?" And he was telling me how far across Texas it was, and I said, "No," because I mean it's a long way across Texas.
Yeah, from Texarkana to El Paso is somewhere close to 850 miles. So Houston, it's 820 miles from Houston to El Paso, and Texarkana up there in the corner there, that's about another 50 plus miles.
Wow. Yeah, it's I've driven from Richmond to El Paso, and it's a long trip.
So So obviously you both have 48 states now. Have either of you been to Hawaii or Alaska?
Alaska. I went to Alaska,
All right, so
and
you're at 49.
yeah. So the only one I have left is Hawaii.
So I have all 50. So
Oh, look at that. He's got all 50.
well, another one of my things I'm proud of it. Are you familiar with the Cache Across America series?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, I've finished that series. So that's a tough series. Took me 8 years to finish that series.
Wow.
So,
That's awesome.
but
Glenn,
Yeah.
Glenn, when did you start catching?
2007. I had a GPS a couple years before that in my car. Well, back then it was as a portable unit, and I knew something about geocaching, but I just never started doing it. And then for some reason, 2007, I said, well, that looks kind of fun, so I started doing it.
Huh. And Carrie,
Yeah.
when did you?
Go ahead.
I started in 2014.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And then like I said, the first year I didn't do all that much, but I did. I think it was out in California, and I always tell people I'm not in it for numbers, but they just build up when you cache a lot.
Right.
So, but I can kind of, it turned me off a little bit when I went to Woodstock, and I went to a couple meet and greets the couple nights before that, and when you walk in, a big crowd there, and instead of saying, "Hey, I'm Chaz, how you doing?" they'd say, "How many do you have?" And at the time I had 5, which I thought I'd never get to 100, and they kind of looked at me like, "Why are you here?" So I try to I try to treat newbies as much as senior people that have been around a long time, because I've been there and I know how it is.
Sure.
Right.
And Glenn, for the record, how many caches do you have?
I'm 8,500.
Okay. Carrie, how many?
I just crossed over 7,000.
Oh, look at you. Good for you. Congratulations.
And I was with her on 6,000 and 7,000.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
so the question is in the chat room, what's the next crazy adventure you're going to take?
I need one. I'm looking for one all the time. I thought about, a couple shows ago, you're talking about that Michigan Geo Tour. That sounded like a lot of fun, going up and doing something like, I like Geo Tours, and that one sounded like a lot of fun. See if you can do that one in a week or something like that.
That's crazy, doesn't it? That's like an insane amount of
Mhm.
It is. That's a lot of cash. And I like to do the state stars. I like GeoArts. So
Yeah.
those are kind of fun. Matter of fact, Carrie and I and a couple others did the Virginia Star. That's our caches. So we're kind of proud of that. So if you come down to Virginia,
Awesome.
do the Virginia Star.
So, Carrie, when were you with him when he did the 17 in a day? Were you there?
No, I don't even think I was caching then.
Okay, Carrie. So Glenn comes up with you and says, "I have an idea. I have an idea. I need you to stop. Do you work? Or are you retired? Or are you not?
I'm retired.
Okay. I need you. I need you to leave your grandchildren and everybody you know, and I need you to come with me for a week across the United States and get a cache in 48 days." Were you hesitant? Or did you think
Actually, no. I mean, a friend of mine actually told me what he was trying to do, and I started asking him about it. What's this about, and what's your plan? And so I wasn't. I just thought this just sounds so exciting, and it was. I just enjoyed it.
Oh, great! So you were all in. You were like,
I was all in.
They're all in. No
Yeah.
talking you into it at all. You're like, I'm.
Nope,
in.
I was
Well,
all in.
A little aside to that, when she found out about it, we met at one of the parks one morning so she could ask me questions about it. And her main concern was that we weren't driving 6 days without stopping. When I told her we had 2 brakes built in, that kind of, pushed her over the edge, and she said, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. That's a lot of drive. I mean,
Yeah.
hands down, that's just a lot. At no point, Carrie, were you like, I have to get out of this car. I seriously.
No, I mean, actually, I don't think I had any thought about, I was so focused on, we need to get to Michigan. before the week is up that I didn't think about. Let's, a matter of fact, we left from Michigan and stopped in Indiana overnight, to rest up. And then we went caching all the way home. So we were just, stoked, I guess is the word for it.
Right. And
ready to go.
Glenn, from the day you thought of it until the day you took off on this crazy adventure, what's that timeline in between?
It's funny that you asked that because I was going to bring it up. When we did the 17 states in DC in one day, when I was starting to think of what my next challenge would be, it was at 48 in a week. So I started thinking about it and planning it. And I always tell people, because it was about 3 to 4 years between the two trips. So they said, well, what took you so long to do that? And I would say, well, it took me about a year to plan it, on and off. It was quite a bit of work.
Sure.
And then I said, and then it took me 3 more years to find somebody to go with me. Because most everybody would just say, no, that's crazy. I don't want to do it. And then Andy, I talked to Andy about it, and and then we were still one short. And then because I wanted 4 people, so every third Saturday we have a get together at one of the breweries, just to talk caching and whatever. And I had the map out, showing everybody, and they're saying, no, that's crazy. I don't want to do that. And Kat showed up, and she looked at the map and said, what are y'all doing? And I said, I want to do this trip, 48 states in 1 week. She said, well,
he's breaking up.
And then, I said, we got together, studied, and just decided on a day to do it. And then we did it. So,
wow. So I got something in the chat room here. Glenn, he says, Fu Manchu and Photomom did 21 states in a day, air quote day, and that's in air quotes. So there's a challenge for you to match. It was actually 26 hours because of the time change and East to Central time zone.
They played the time zone game.
Well, when I did the 17 in one day, 18 if you count DC, I said we had 20 minutes spare. We finished up in St. Louis at 20 minutes to 11. So we were doing the 24-hour period, not the same day period. So we did factor that 1 hour in. We didn't use that extra hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, because I remember I had an idea probably about 8 years ago to do what you did, but like I said, I wanted to do a camper van, get a bunch of people, just so there's like a bed and a bathroom and whatnot. So you literally don't have to stop except for gas, and try. But like I said, I do it in 2 weeks. I didn't think a week was possible. Didn't even think a week was possible.
Well, now you know, so you can get out and do it.
Yeah,
it is possible. Trust me. Just as well as returning.
I would totally do it. The only thing that I wouldn't like about it is because so much of it would end up being at night, and you miss out on seeing, so much.
Yeah.
So were there parts that you went through at night that you wish you had gone through during the day that you could have seen the sights and scenery?
I did not see Nebraska.
You didn't miss much.
It was, that's what everybody says. I mean, it was just dark and we could tell it was fields of, whatever. But, I guess some of the states that I went through that were at night, maybe I just don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
The one state that I do recall that we went through during the day that I fell in love with, and that was Colorado. Mm-hmm. It was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Agreed. It is beautiful there.
Yes, agreed.
See, a challenge for you guys would be to hit the road in a RV or whatever, and then do the show on the road.
Oh, trust me, it would be videotaped and
oh yeah,
live streamed. Yes, constantly. Absolutely. Yes. I couldn't just go. We don't just go anymore. We don't do that anymore. So yeah. But that's pretty amazing. It's to anybody to say mad respect to you guys. It's insane because that's mad respect to all 4 of you. To pull something like that off is ridiculous.
We got support along the way. One of our friends here in Richmond is a computer girl. She set up a blog for us that we kept. People followed us on the blog, And of course, we did Facebook along the way. And also we had on my van, it was advertised that I had in the back window, I had a big 48 and it said Geocaching America, caching 48 states in 1 week. On the side window, we had the www.48in1week.com for the blog. We also had one of these big maps that you see on RVs that you fill in, you put the sticker in each state as you go along. So you put the states in, and then I had a license plate. This is the people that are looking. This is a license plate off the van at the time. It says 48 in 1 week. That was the actual license plate off the van. So I had special plates made up for the van. So we advertised along the way, and then I had extras made. I told them I lost my tag, so get me 2 more. So all 4 of us have a tag that we can have for the trip.
And did you ever consider calling Groundspeak or Geocaching and be like, hey, you guys want to sponsor this? And maybe
I told them about it, and they said good luck, and
that's it.
that was about it. I still have the paper map, where I had drawn a line on it, and and I thought about sending it to them, so they could have it. But if you can see, I had some patches made up.
I have one. A patch. I have a patch.
Yeah. Geocaching 48 states in 1 week, and it shows where we went and had mainly wear that, So, but like I say, it was a lot. It was a challenge, and it worked out good. Thank goodness.
Okay. Is there? People are asking, is there a map somewhere online to see the map? Is it like the 48 states, and is that website still up or is it down? You know if that blog is still up?
I think it's
the blog
down.
is down. Yeah, I think it's down too. I think you go to it and just
archive.org. It's always up. It's there.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
And you can't hide from the internet, man.
And if they look in that FTF magazine, there's that same picture is in the magazine. It kind of shows where we went.
Oh, okay.
So
there is a link here in the live chat. Oh, there's a link here in the live chat to with a picture of the map. So there's a map, a link somewhere in the chat. I can't see it.
Okay.
But I had a question for you. Okay, Carrie.
Yes.
Would you do it again?
Probably not, unless it was a different challenge to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been there, done that. I don't know that I want to beat it.
If he came at you with another crazy adventure that was a week long in a car,
yeah, I'd do it.
You'd do it again?
Yeah.
Glenn, would you do it again?
Yeah.
Glenn, would you do it again?
Yeah, I would. It was 3 years ago. I'm a little older now. Maybe a little wiser, I hope. But but I think, could I still do it? I would do it. I'm always up for a challenge. Like if you're playing it right, you get a break. You got some rest. You don't try to kill yourself. Then I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I think the right car. Like I think if it was a camper van, like I was saying, something like an RV, I think I could do it. I don't know if I could do it in a van or a car. I don't think I could do it.
It would have to have very comfortable seats.
Yeah. Chad, would you do it? Chad, would you do it?
I would do it in a heartbeat.
Really? Jesse, I don't have to answer the question. Jesse would do it for.
Duh.
Jesse would.
I'm there.
Jesse would do it without Cat. I think she would just do it.
I told you we had that. We called it our bed, foam rubber with a sleep mattress on it. I remember once Carrie was tired. She went back there and laid in the bed. And when we got, like she said, when we got to a cache, we all jumped out. So we all have hands on it and all. We signed it 48 in 1 week, but somebody can't say, well, you didn't see that cache because you were sleeping.
Right.
But it was all we could do to wake her up to get it. She was dead to the world.
And what was, Glenn, what was your longest stretch without sleeping?
I don't know. I was probably the first day, the first 48 hours, because we were hitting, the first 24 hours, because we were hitting state after state after state real quick, so, you try to go to sleep and you're at the next one already, or you're planning ahead.
Yeah. And your adrenaline is going. So you don't want to sleep.
Right.
Then when you get down there and you start, where you got a couple hours in between states or something, you say, okay, I've seen we can do it. I can see the other three are not going to get us lost. We're not going to miss a cache or whatever. We all trust each other. So it wasn't any problem going to sleep. But probably the first day was the hardest. Like she said, we were ramped up and it was just state after state after state, and it was hard to go to sleep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could do it in a car or even a van. Give me an RV. I think I'm good in an RV. I think I could do it in an RV. Jess.
Okay.
Okay. For the record.
I'll start planning.
There you go.
We're gonna get lousy gas mileage, but we'll be a lot more comfortable. Is what we'll be.
Yeah, you'll be so excited. You'll be okay. You guys, we had good comfortable seats in the van, so it wasn't uncomfortable. It's a good riding van. And
Yeah, it was comfortable.
I wouldn't want to do it in a Jeep or something like that.
Right. Oh God. All right, guys. The hour is up. It's been amazing, guys. It's an amazing thing you did. I'm in awe of it, and I can't even imagine doing that. So kudos to you guys. I don't know. Has anybody done it since you guys? Do you know of anybody else who's done it since you?
Haven't heard about it.
No.
No.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Jesse, anything else?
No, my wheels are spinning. I got all kinds of ideas.
Jazz, anything else?
Not for me.
All right, guys. Thank you so much in the chat room for asking questions. It was awesome. Thank you, Codys, for calling in. Carrie, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you. Glenn, always a pleasure. Hey, Glenn, thank you for being a patron. Thank you for coming on the show and talking about this. Like I say, Glenn sent me an email, guys, talking about this. I'm like, oh, you can't just drop me that. And like, you drop that, you're coming on the show. Like, that's way too good of a story. And it is. It's an amazing adventure that you had. It's pretty amazing. Again, it's in FTF magazine, where I can't find where it is. From probably about 3. There it is, volume 7, issue 4, guys. If you're looking for it, that story. And Glenn, thank you so much. Carrie, thank you so much once again. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Guys, next week, Chad, November Cash or Coffee.
Awesome.
Next week, we're bringing back Cash or Coffee. It's been a while. We haven't had one of those in a while, man.
No, we haven't.
It's been like a month.
I know, a whole month. So we're bringing back Cash or Coffee, November Cash or Coffee, to come in to bring November in with a bang. This end of the year, guys, it's going to get crazy. We got a lot of good stuff coming up the end of this year. A lot of good shows coming up to kill this year, including Chad. A little sneak peek. Chad! I don't remember which day, but coming up in December, Chad, guess what we're going to do again? The annual. It's now annual because this is the second one, so now it's annual. The annual Stump the Caller 2. The sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Up in December. That's coming to look forward to.
That sounds fun.
Callers call in. I ask you questions. Whoever wins a big prize. Proud compliments of Practical Geocaching. So looking forward to that. Other great shows coming next week. Cash or Coffee. We got a lot of stuff to tackle. A lot of things going on in Groundspeak. Past couple of weeks, man. Chad, you see everything that's happening with the new lists and everything going on with that?
No, I haven't. So I need to do some catch up.
Like sleeping and in pain.
The oxycodone. I'm going to blame it on the oxy.
So, guys, that's what's coming up next week. A slew of other things. November's shaping up to be a fantastic month. So, we will see you guys next week. Glenn, again, thank you. Carrie, thank you so much. Jesse, thank you. Chad, thank you. Chat room, thank you so much, guys. And we will end the show here. Give me 1 second here. Let me find. Here it is. Okay. Please join us again every Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, as we stream live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and on our website, geocachingpodcast.com. The archived video versions of our podcast are available on our website or on our YouTube channel, and the audio versions are available on your favorite podcatcher. If you like the show, please head on over to Apple iTunes. Actually, Apple Podcasts now. iTunes is gone. And rate, review, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it, and it really helps the show when you do. If you prefer to watch the show, make sure you click on the subscribe or get notified button to know when we go live. If you haven't already, please consider becoming a patron of our show. With tiers starting as low as $3, you will get a ton of additional information, extra videos, extra audio, only available to our Patreon members. Please head on over to patreon.com today and subscribe. That's patreon.com/The Geocaching Podcast. Thanks once again to our sponsors, Cashly, Logwork, FTF Geocacher Magazine, the Max Odds Body Company, Practical Geocaching, and PathTags.com. Please visit our sponsors, and when you make a purchase, You tell them the GCPC sent you. That's all we got this week. So we'll see you next week talking geocaching, taking your phone calls. In the meantime, be good, be safe, hug your loved ones. We'll talk to you guys next week. Okay, we are clear. All right, we are still live on social, but the feed has stopped. The audio feed has stopped. So, guys, thank you so much. Everybody in the chat room, awesome. Great to have you guys here. Happy Halloween to everybody for Halloween tomorrow. It's supposed to snow in Chicago tomorrow for Halloween.
Snow.
Snow, Chad. It's going to snow. It's going to snow. Yeah. So, yeah.
They've actually-
It's a white Halloween Charlie Brown.
It's a white Yeah, do you believe that crap? How about that?
They've rescheduled trick or treating hours in a couple of towns around us,
Yeah.
because of concerns over the snowplows.
The snowplows running over children.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that.
But not in my town. Hell no. We say
Nope.
over. It's Halloween. We do Halloween on Halloween. You know, when I was a kid, if it rained, tough cookies. You go trick or treating anyway.
You went trick or treating, or you didn't get candy?
That's right, man. You don't wait till Saturday when it's going to be warm out. No.
No.
You go on Halloween. So, happy Halloween, everybody. We'll talk to you guys next week. November Cash or Coffee. Guys, it's going to be a great end of the year, guys. We've got a lot of good shows coming up. We're just rocking shows right after the end of the year. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, we'll talk to you guys next week. Be good, be safe. And thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.